Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome back to the third part of cleansing the foolishness from the WoW community by attempting to prove that Affliction is indeed still god tier. In the last episode, we finally received our faucet, talked some trash to a demolog that put me on a leash quicker than I could ask him to hold my seat, felt the incredible jawline of this husky dinosaur, all while we absolutely not got carried through dungeons whatsoever. Yet in this video, you will see everything from incredible fails, a tear-jerking comeback story, a mage with anger issues, as well as another battle between me and some meta-abusing warlock, and our first attempt on the plus 20 key in this series. So make yourself comfy, grab a drink, and listen to some POD, because... But first, I'd like to take this opportunity to quickly use the new year as an excuse to say this. Thank you. When editing this video, we hit the critical benchmark of 1000 subs, which is an insane number. Even though shortly after it looked like this. But went back to this. So with that being said, again, thank you so much. By the way, if you're seeing ads now for some reason, that is not my fault. I won't apply for monetization in the near future, so don't blame that on me. Alright, so...
Good news, everyone!
This time I didn't delete the footage from the teaser at the end of last video, so let's dive right into that one. Lil bitch Kusi style, I baited you guys with the 19 mirrors on ski and lowered it to 17 again just to be on brand. Now, to set the scene here, some of the guys in this run were absolutely juiced out of their mind. This warrior tank for example. I was certain this will be just another day at the office. And to be honest, it started well. If by start one would consider the first pull, because on the second pull, the red and I just gobbled up the big ball to quickly press the release button for the first time. The rest of the trash went fine, and with that we started our first encounter with Santa tier, and yes, you heard that correctly, the first. Our insanely impotent placement of all the little golden stains was so out of this world shit that we couldn't soak the orbs proper without taking too much damage. Second pull, and well...
Bye, have a great time!
I was certain someone will leave here, because why the hell would we wipe twice and then continue? But would you look at that? No bitches in this party. So we go again. And even though we crapped the middle with golden poo again, we pummeled his dumbass head off of him to continue to the little minigame that made more people lose than Riley Reid on No Not November. But as a proud member of NoFap, your boy aced this thing without busting, hit me with the 07 in the comments. Needless to say, because it's tyrannical, we just railed through the trash. But with that, we had our fair share of fun on the battlefield of old. This Anduin, that is an actual chat compared to his little blonde bitch boy the Alliance calls King, was ready to throw some hands, and his band of butt buddies was also keen for some action, which made this fight hella sketchy. When this season began, I usually was confused why groups would lust here instead of Morchi, but it makes so much more sense to me now. You see, Morchi just sounds horrendous on paper, but it's actually quite an easy one to play. The two key things to do are obviously figuring out which one of the split personalities is the real one, and to manage the stacking debuff the ads trigger when being frozen. So I made sure to feel my mirror image and kite it into the trap a little later than everybody else. Good guy Girth. Well, until my fear sent it straight towards the trap. But since no one important died, I call it player diff and move on. Just over 5 minutes on the clock, this would be a rough one to time. And all hope was lost when we didn't even get to phase 2 before the timer ended. While just as icing on the cake, we wiped and had to do the entire thing again. Though everyone was willing to stay, so we can at least finish this puppy. Even though this was a depleted one, we still got over 200 score for some reason. But yet again, no items to show for. I really enjoyed the fact that people stayed cool here, really embracing the spirit of Christmas. After this, my mission for further keys were to maximize the rating gained by doing a Dark Card ticket, a Warcraft Manor, and an Everbloom key, since those are the only ones I either didn't do on Tyrannical or didn't do at all yet. So we applied. For a while, until we got the chance to shine in the 13 Dark Card ticket. I had an absolute blast this one, mainly because the tank kept chain pulling like a madman, and even though I was doing shitty DPS on bosses, I knew how to cheat my way to the top again. Take note kids. Saviors as a range is quite chill, or at least it's chill when you're barely getting targeted by anything. We made quick work, easy 3 chests, and the cloak that I obviously don't need again. Will I ever get an item that I can actually use for Girth's sakes? Ah well, from our depleted Morozons, we got a 16 Blackrock hold, which, if you remember, we did on 17 in the last episode. So this was mainly to push the key and to farm some quests. Though I really tried to apply to multiple Warcraft Manor keys without any success, DPS life is rough out here. I made sure to have the perfect balance between insane classes as well as a bit of fun splashed in with this lovely mage. His name is a nice little pun if you're German, that is. However, this started unexpected. This man was probably on some lower internet speed while also binging the Cussy Slayer Zero to Hero challenge or Guardian Druid, which you can also check out with the link on the top right, but he figured it's a VOD so you can watch it later. A bit of a rough start, but we all found a mutual agreement to blame the reasoning, and thus we continued. As you all know, this boss is just some clickbait big HP trash mob, so we can jump right ahead to the second. And speaking of jump, did you know that you can just do this? If you spam spacebar, or whatever other button you wheels have bound to use jump, you will not get hit by her X-ray vision, while also having less area covered with magic. I've read that under some video and I had no idea if this actually works, but I was willing to test it out, so you don't have to. However, it seems that after this boss, the healer started to lag, getting not only hit by one testicle, but another one. And rightfully so, he got trash talked by all of us. I love this party. But at least here I was finally able to do some affliction things, so just close your eyes and listen. The sound of seed exploding onto multiple targets is easily the only ASMR I need in my life. But besides me getting absolutely cockblocked by my party after the third boss tried to bump bellies with me, nothing of matter happened anymore in this run. Oh yeah, besides me getting lasered. Hashtag washed. No loot, but I got an 18 Everbloom from this, and if you remember, Everbloom was on the list of dungeons I didn't do in Tyrannical yet. So obviously, I made the group and forgot to record it. But it was a 2 chest and sort of looked like this. I did get a 20 Galakrons 4 from that, and even though this probably would have been the easiest key to time this season, I didn't want to give you guys the opportunity to call me boosted, so I lowered it to 18. Joke's on you. Right after the start, our tank wanted to test the waters by pulling extra trash for no reason, so we can all have a good time. And then pulling the boss midway through the second pull with no time for this wonky warlock to set his shit up. Thanks for that, man. So the second boss went anything else but clean, while we had people dying left, right and center, because apparently our healer was too slow to dispel, which led to both rings nuking the entire party every now and then. Fortunately though, the most important people were able to finish this boss, saving all of us from a potential disband. But I was hella confident that we timed this one with ease, after having more than 2 minutes to 3 chests for just the final boss and some extra trash, which the tank just pulled all of it at the same time. I love me some numbers, man. Iridicron made me use my knowledge from last episode, and thus I didn't fuck up the Extinction Blast. Clocking in on an overall rather clean 2 chest, we got rewarded with a beauty. No, not this one. This one. Waycrest Manor, baby. The last thing we needed for our Pokédex, that is the Tyrannical Mythic Plus list. And you know me, not plus 20, but plus 18. Come on, it's Tyrannical week. I won't do my first plus 20 on 5 bosses. You crazy? So in this one, I want to introduce you to a really neat and fun ability. Soul Burn is an ability that costs a soul shard, but will enhance one of these abilities. I personally use it a lot on either instant gateways or this insane extra healing from healthstones. Why am I telling you this? Well, because Little Sis Briar targets a player with a ticking dot that will only be removed when healed above 90% health. So we can help out. Now, needless to say, I was feeling myself for this dungeon because there's so much trash to run through. So I'm still really struggling in the single target, which also has a lot to do with the Affliction skill tree. You often have to decide to either go AoE or single target on the same node. A bit meh for hybrid content that is Mythic Plus, but we need to make the best of it. 3 bosses in the dirt and even the Waycrest Swinger Club downstairs didn't pose a threat, which left us with Big Boy Gorak, which we wiped on. Cause turns out, if your boy isn't around, no one gives a shit about incorporeal. Tough stuff. But we had enough time to finish this, and with that, we did it better. 236 rating for this puppy and Keystone Master. 3rd week and we got Keystone Master already. But the real victory was neither of those two things. Even the ring, being a pet upgrade, was not the victory. We did top damage by timing an 18 key with 5 bosses. As you can imagine, I went to bed being a happy boy after this one, but I wasn't done for this week. There was still so much more to do, so on the next day I did a little warm-up key before starting the actual big boy stuff. in which we had an altercation with a mage that, well, thought a little bit too highly about himself. Now you see, our tank did a fatal mistake on Dr. Pictits. He moved away from the boss. And if no one is in range for his stepdad like haymakers, he just goes into buffet mode and eats everything, leading to some mad group damage. And here are two ways to tell the tank he messed up. This is me letting him know. This is the mage letting him know. I never understand the appeal of just trashing someone that either clearly didn't know or just forgot. We all have the same goal in mind of finishing this key, but those are his issues to overcome, and maybe he will grow up one day. Then we did the tree boss, which also didn't work out too well. Mage complained, then left, and that was my warm-up. Now, my key on the other hand was the Throne of Tides 18, which I decided to use as an excuse to make an example out of one of these meta-abusing muppets. So I invited a heroic mythic geared Demolog from my guild for this one, and I instantly told him what is about to go down. So far so good. I was able to keep him on distance on the first pull until he cheesed everything with Implosion. What a loser. Because I suck the fattest donkey wiener when it comes to boss damage, I knew I had to outblast him on AoE, which was a lot harder than expected. Because even though I did some good damage, he just did more. Second boss down, and I knew I had to bring this puppy home by sealing the entire rest of the dungeon, and well... ah shit. We don't got what it takes yet, but I wasn't too far off, I would say. Considering the gear diff as well as the spec, we will get there eventually. Darker ticket plus 20 baby. And while the very first pull went super clean with your boy seeding his nuts dry to top the charts, everything else was rather tragic. We added extra and wiped. And again. And again. But hey, look at this portal skip. I bet Demologs can't do that shit. Yet ironically, the first boss was also the last. We lost 2 of our soldiers from the charge, and with that, this went down the drain. Without saying anything, we all silently agreed that this thing is over and this is how our first plus 20 experience ends. But since it's the first day of the new year when this gets released, I got something cheerful for you. A quick glimpse at the vault, as well as a little teaser for a future item upgrade we obtained. Gimme that, gimme that, gimme that, gimme that, gimme that, yes!